So on today's Card Academy lesson, we're gonna be a little bit flexing, with the Parlor deck. These are the prototypes. These aren't the real ones. I haven't gotten them yet. I'm not that deep with the Gentleman Wake, but today I'm going to be showing you guys a very, very interesting move in the self-working spread Cull. Now, obviously, the spread Cull is a move that requires a lot of work to get right. However, this one is going to be a little bit of a variant with a couple different ideas and a couple different applications that I like to call the self-working spread Cull. Now, first time I saw an idea similar to this was a force that I saw done by Jay Sankey. It was a pretty terrible force, to be honest, just because of one particular aspect of it, which is very, very easily fixable, which I'm going to show you guys later on in this lesson. However, as you could see from the actual methodology itself, it's not hard at all to do. So here's the actual way that it looks like. Let's assume we want this card second from the bottom of the deck. All we need to do is just take it and spread the deck. And of course, that card is now second from the bottom of the deck. Now, this is just a very, very rudimentary application of it. There's many things you could do with this. You could displace cards, you could force cards, but as you can see, it's a self-working spread Cull. All we're doing, instead of doing the actual action of a spread Cull, which involves putting pressure on certain places, all we're doing here is just simply taking the card, spreading the cards on top of it. So this card is now riding along the wave, and that card goes wherever it needs to go in the deck. Again, realistically, the best places to put it would be near the bottom of the deck. If you, for example, need a card to be third from the bottom of the deck, very, very easily done. Just in the context of spreading the cards, we could just spread through until we spot those two cards, and now that card is third from the face of the deck. So let's go over just the mechanics of this very, very simply. We're going to take our left thumb and take this card onto our right hand. We're then going to spread cards on top of this card over here until we reach the bottom of the deck. So in this case, that card is riding along much like it's being spread Culled all the way to the bottom of the deck. If we want to displace it, let's say second from the bottom of the deck, all we need to do is, instead of placing it directly on the bottom of the deck, we're just going to leave a little bit of space here so we can insert that card right there underneath the bottom card of the deck, therefore placing it where we need it to be. Now, this could be done, as I mentioned earlier, as a force. This is actually the way I originally saw it done, and that would look a little bit like this. Sir, I'm just going to run through the deck like this. I'll tell you what, why don't you just touch any card you want? Go ahead and touch any card you want. That one right there, perfect. Take a look at your card. Don't forget it. And that card is now, of course, forced. This is where I saw it done by Jay Sankey many years ago. However, the way he did it was a little bit abrupt. So the way his handling was, sir, I'm just going to run through the cards like this. I want you to call stop. I'll tell you what, just touch any card you want. Right there, perfect. Take a look at the card. And of course, that's the action I didn't like, was the scoring up bit. So for this force, you need the card on top of the deck. We're going to tell the spectator, in a moment, I'm going to run through the cards like this. I'll tell you what, why don't you just pick one? So in this case, the force card is going to go on top of the deck. I'm going to count this card along with a couple other cards. And my sort of internal monologue is, I'm going to have the spectator pick a card by me doing this. However, that's taking too long. So I'm just going to have them touch a card. That's my internal monologue here. So what I'm doing is, this packet is just going to go underneath, and it's going to ride along as the spectator touches any card they want. So whatever card they touch, all I'm going to do is, whatever card they touch, I'm going to just very, very carefully square that up and make sure that the original packet that has been riding along is now underneath my hand. So keeping this card face up, all I'm going to do, sir, in a moment, I'm going to run through the cards like this. I'll tell you what, just touch one. Just touch a card. That'll save us some time here. Again, remember, this packet is riding along. Whatever card the spectator touches, I'm just going to thumb that card, square it up, just like this, as I tell the spectator to take a look at it. So at speed, it just looks like this. Sir, I'm going to run through the cards like this. Go ahead. I'll tell you what, just touch one. That'll be a lot faster. That right there, perfect. Why don't you just take a look at that card? Don't forget it, and give the deck a mix, or whatever it is that that particular trick entails. So as you can see, it's a very, very easy way to displace cards from the top to the bottom of the deck, or to force cards when needed. Now, if you do need to maintain a small group of cards, all you need to do is just spread off that many cards in the beginning. So instead of taking one card, for example, let's assume that we have 4 cards of value on top of the deck. It's very, very simple to just spread 4 cards here, take these cards in the right hand, have these cards right along on top of the spread, and then have the spectator to touch a card or just control those cards to a needed position on the bottom of the deck, just like that, without the need for a cut or a super overt action. So what this is saving you essentially is doing a cut or some sort of overt action, because all you're doing here is just simply looking like you're spreading the cards and you're moving a card from the top to the bottom or from the top to a certain position near the bottom of the deck. Now, this is a little bit of an experimental concept. I wouldn't consider this a move, but it's still using the same, if not similar techniques to this handling, which is using it as an actual control of a selected card. So in this case, let's say the spectator happens to touch this card over here, the Queen of Spades. In the action of just simply spreading the cards, we have now controlled that card second from the bottom of the deck. So I think that this is just an experimental idea because of the fact that it does need proper audience management. I haven't tested this out, but it's something that you guys could definitely try out if you are willing. So all I'm doing here, I'm having the spectator touch whichever card they want. Let's say they happen to touch this card over here, which happens to be the 6 of diamonds. Now, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my hand, so I'm going to move my hand so that this card is a little bit underneath the spread at the same time that I'm going to spread this left-handed half on top of the right-handed half, just like this. As I reiterate to the spectator, they could have touched any card they wanted. So that at speed just looks a little bit like this. Sir, go ahead, touch any card you want. That one right there. Perfect. You could have touched any card you wanted. As a matter of fact, this is an ordinary deck. This isn't one of those TV trick decks that you would think I bought from QVC if you're a boomer. And of course, in that action, the card is controlled second from the bottom of the deck. The reason I like doing that is because it gives me the ability to show the bottom card of the deck without necessarily showing that that's the card. So any sort of idea that I might have actually had or controlled their card is immediately dismissed when I show the bottom card not being their card. So one more time, at speed, it just looks like this, sir. Right there. Don't forget that card. I'll tell you what, you could have picked any one of these cards. This isn't one of those TV special decks, but I just want you to think of your card, say it over and over in your head. And of course, that card is now controlled second from the bottom of the deck. So this is just a little bit of a look as to this self-working spread call idea. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys for being members of the Pigcake Magic Academy, and hope to see you on the next lesson.